Hello, my most amazing and awesome artists. Today we're going to be creating the letters in the book From the Day the Crayons Quit. Now, each crayon wrote a different letter to Duncan, the owner of the crayons, expressing how they felt about being either left outside to melt or maybe not colored with so often. Today you're going to get to make a letter to yourself because you're the owner of your sculpture. So I'm going to make a giant piece of notebook paper to write my letter on. That letter is from my sculpture, as if it came alive. I'm going to make it double the size of a piece of notebook paper. That means I have to do a little bit of math. Yes, math in art. So if I measure with a ruler the margins of the paper, I get about 1.5 for the top, then 1 inch on the side margin on the left, and then 1/2 of an inch for each line on that notebook paper. So if I times that by 2, that means that my top is going to be 3 inches. That means my margin is going to be about 2 inches, and that means each line is going to be 1 inch. So after I figure out all that math, I'm going to use my ruler in an appropriate and safe way. That means not as a wand, not as a lightsaber, not as a weapon. I'm going to use my ruler to measure and get those measurements right on my paper. If you're a little bit off and it's too tricky, it's okay. We just want to make the notebook paper double the size of a normal notebook paper. So to do that, I start out by measuring 3 inches on the top, draw a line across horizontally, then I measure 2 inches so I can make my margin on the left. I draw a line with my ruler all the way down to the bottom of the paper. It is bigger than 12 inches, so I'm going to have to do it twice to make it fit. Then I'm going to measure 1 inch for each line. I make little tiny tick marks on each line so that way I can have a guide of where to put each line as I go. I'm drawing super light until I get it right because I'm going to go over with a blue and a red crayon to get it to look like that paper. Then I am going to go over top and I will write my letter from my sculpture when I'm done. After you get your measurements drawn lightly with a pencil, then you can take out your crayons. I'm going to get out a red and a blue crayon to make those lines just like a piece of notebook paper. Now, when I'm going over, I forgot to write my name on my paper. That was important, Miss Q. I should have had my name in class code as the first thing I did. But anyway, now I'm going over top with a crayon, using the ruler again as a guide, just in case my hand's a little shaky because yes, it is. I cannot draw a straight line. I just can't, so I need that ruler. It's okay if you don't want to use it, though. Your lines don't have to be perfect. After all, this is not a real piece of notebook paper. It is one that you are creating yourself, giant-sized. Now I'm going over to... After I make all my lines with the notebook paper, I'm going to start writing my letter to the owner, which is me, from my pencil. Now, if you have a crayon, you could write it with the color of the crayon that you are. Or if it's a colored pencil, you could write it with the color of that colored pencil. But if you're like me and made a pencil sculpture, I'm going to use a pencil to write. You also just might want to write it at first with pencil in case you make a mistake or want to change your idea. That way, you can erase and then go over top later with the color of your sculpture. I'm going to say, "Dear Miss Q, it really hurts my feelings when you leave me on the ground." What? Oh yeah, the pencils always fall on the ground. It really hurts the pencil's feelings when I leave them on the ground, mainly when it rolls off the table. My point breaks, and then you have to sharpen me. When you sharpen me a lot, I get little tiny and stubby. I wish I was still a big pencil. That is my dream. I wish I could still be a big brand new pencil, but now I'm a little tiny stub. What are you going to do when I'm gone? You going to throw me out? I don't want to be thrown out. I miss when I got to draw with you all the time. I get jealous. Recently you've been using Mr. Sharpie a lot. I'm a little jealous. I wish you would draw with me again. All right, your stubby friend, yellow number 2 pencil. After you're done writing your silly letter, then you can put it in your table folder. Now, if you need to go over top of your color with whatever colored pencil or crayon you are, you can do that. You could even draw a picture of your sculpture, maybe make it come to life with eyes, nose, and mouth, just like in the book, The Day the Crayons Quit. They've all got faces on them like they just came to life and wrote that letter to the owner. Make sure you sign off like you're that sculpture. You could give your pencil a name or just sign it off as that color. If you're like me and just have a number 2 pencil, it could just say your friend number 2 pencil. Then make sure your name is on the back, put it in your folder, and you're good to go. All right, artists, have fun today.